a business plan, especially creating a business plan for a creative or artistic type entrepreneur, it is not a fun thing because it doesn't generally have a whole lot to do with creativity. But we gotta do it. Hey everybody, I'm Frank Blanchard, AIFD, and welcome back to my channel and back to the next video, all on these 5 top things creative businesses and especially florists need to be able to set up for themselves so that they can have success with your business, whether it's a flower shop or a studio florist, or maybe you're a flower farmer. Could be just about anything. The rules, though, however, really apply to pretty much anybody and everybody starting a business. This one, I'm really going to focus in on creating a business plan for retail florists and floral designers, maybe with a studio type business setup. And some of you might also want to consider using this same kind of model to create your own personal business plan. And I'll talk about that more in a minute here. But these top 5 things that I think are really key for all floral industry professionals to have set up and have a good understanding of for their business are: 1, which I talked about in more depth in the last video, which was selecting your business name. This one, I'm talking specifically about creating your business plan. And then in the next upcoming videos, I'll be going more in depth on branding for your business, going over current trends in marketing for your business, and also how to develop a good, well-rounded overall web presence for your specific business, and really focusing in on what your actual niche within the industry is. So back to today's topic, which is the business plan. I've actually been asked this a few times, and I think part of why people are interested in getting started in the floral industry and in a floral type business is, at least in the United States, for the most part, starting any kind of a flower related business is quite easy. There aren't a lot of licensing regulations involved with it, for the most part. There are some licenses that you have to get, but there's not a whole lot. And for the most part, starting any kind of a flower business is, as starting a business goes, pretty cheap. You actually don't need a huge amount of financial startup funds to be able to get going. So I think that alone makes it a real popular small business choice for a lot of people, just because it doesn't take a whole lot of financial startup funds to get going. That said, I think a lot of people try to start a flower business just by getting the required licensing and trying to start doing a little marketing or advertising, and maybe getting a website set up, or maybe not even getting a website set up, just starting a business Facebook page or something to that effect. And that is one way of doing it, but you're going to be kind of going at it flying by the seat of your pants, not really knowing if you're doing well or not well, as the case may be. So some key things that you're going to need to focus in on when you're creating a business plan is the basics of what it's going to take to operate your business. One of the reasons why you want to think about creating a business plan is if you are setting up a full-blown flower shop or floral studio type business. If at any time during the startup period you want to go to a bank to take out a small business loan or something to that effect, or even from a friend who might offer to lend you some funds to help get you started, a good business plan is something that those people are going to want to be able to take a look at, because they want to know that you're going to be capable of creating a good return for their investment, basically. So, for a good business plan for a floral business, depending on when you're creating this, I think a lot of people very likely will have decided what their business name is going to be. And so that's one piece of the puzzle that you want included in that business plan. In addition to that, things that you're going to want to have on that plan so that you can visually see this is where you're going to do this business. If you are renting a retail storefront type location, or if you're doing this out of your home, how much the square footage is, if you're going to need to be paying any rent or utilities on that space, etc., etc. So you've got to have that kind of information on there as far as where you're doing it. Also, what kinds of business you're going to be doing. Are you a full-service retail flower shop? Are you strictly an online florist selling primarily through an e-commerce website? Or possibly a studio designer focusing on weddings and special events? You want to differentiate between those as to what you're going to focus on. From there, you're going to want to put down some basic information as to, okay, with this said business, what or who is your customer demographic going to be, and what are you projecting for your monthly as well as weekly income going to be over the next year. So each year, or I should say each month, you want to think about growth and how much you're growing and how much you would like to grow, and what that will potentially financially look like. I think for a lot of people looking at creating a business plan, that's one of the hardest parts to think about and look at, is how much are you starting with, and how much business are you looking to be doing on a monthly basis. And because this is a business plan, the whole objective is you want to be seeing growth, that you're getting more business and the business itself is growing. That's what you want to be seeing over those months down the line. So in addition to monthly projected income from this business, you also want to narrow it down a bit and figure out how much potentially you might be bringing in on a weekly basis. How much business are you going to be doing, or would you like to be doing on a weekly basis? From there, the next part of the financial puzzle, and this is where it can be hard for a lot of floral professionals, is figuring out your cost of goods on a weekly and monthly basis that will enable you to actually do the amount of business that you are putting down as your projected dollar amounts for income for this new business on a monthly as well as a weekly basis. So for starters, backing up here again, you're looking at your business name, your DBA or doing business as, and where you're going to be doing this business, the cost involved with rent, if there is any, on the space that you are using for this business, and along with that, any other utilities like electric, water, etc., etc. What are those costs going to be? And from there, determining what you're predicting your income or profit potentially might be on a monthly basis, and you want to scale it out for at least a year. From there, you also want to be doing it on a weekly basis, because all of this is going to give you the means of being able to determine, once you actually get started, if you're doing well or if you're going in the hole. And with a new business, it's a lot of work to get a new business going. And most people and most business executives say that it's going to take a good 5 years for you to get going. In this day and age, though, depending on how good you are with your marketing and your branding and how much of a go-getter you are, it can happen a little sooner than that. But for the most part, you want to give yourself about 5 years to really start generating some money with this business. So looking at all of those bullet points on a business plan. Also looking at the futures of your business. So you want to be thinking of, okay, after a while, I might need to hire some employees to help keep this business going and to keep this business growing. So you need to figure in wages into this business plan, and that's a really important part, because if you don't figure that in, then when and if you do need to hire an employee, if you can't pay a good going rate for a professional, experienced person who can really help your business to grow and prosper, you're going to have a hard time finding good employees. So keep that in mind. Wages, thinking of wages and future employees is a really important aspect to the overall business plan. You also need to be thinking about budgeting for advertising costs, if you're going to be doing any, and what you're going to be needing in the way of equipment to start this business. So for a flower shop or a florist, even if you're a studio designer, you have to think about, am I buying a brand new walk-in floral cooler right off the bat, or am I getting a used one somewhere? Or am I creating some other kind of walk-in cooler situation? A walk-in cooler, or a cooler big enough that you can store a significant amount of product in, is probably not only one of the biggest expenses for a florist, but it's also one of the most important, especially when it comes to holiday time and any big events that you're going to be doing, anything like that. You've got to have the ability to keep your product cool and have a place to store it when you're dealing with fresh floral product. So equipment. You need to think of equipment within that business plan and the costs of starting up. In addition to that is anything else that you want to add to that startup fund that you're thinking about in the way of marketing or advertising. So this also goes for any professional associations that you think would be really important for you to join, because it will enable you to do more with your marketing efforts. And those you want to think about, because ultimately, since those are business costs, once you are doing your taxes, those are things that affect your overall taxes, and some of those things can actually be deducted. So those are all some of the really important things to be thinking about when you're creating a business plan for your floral business. Now, if you are a professional floral designer and you work for other people, you also might want to think about doing a bit of a business plan for yourself, because in many ways, you are actually your own personal individual business entity. So creating a personal business plan for yourself, you don't have to get so much into the financial part of it, but it's also good for you to create a personal business plan. Now, why I'm really focusing on the importance of having a business plan, whether you're starting a full-blown business or you're thinking of just creating a personal business plan, it's a really good way to give you a starting point, and it gets you thinking about where you want to go with your career or your business and how you want to develop professionally within the industry and within your niche, whatever your niche is, and what's it going to take to get there. It's about the only way we have of really being able to measure and see if we are progressing with our plans for business growth and career growth and getting to where we want to go. So if you can think of all of those things, and every once in a while jot some notes down, and then periodically you can compile them and create a good, well-rounded business plan. Something to keep in mind though, once you do create that business plan, don't just put it in a filing cabinet somewhere after you've done it and close the drawer and put it away and don't look at it again. It's a good idea to have it out somewhere where you can look at it once in a while and see if you are staying on schedule. And also, if crazy things happen with your business or your life or the life in the world, like right now we're going through some crazy times, and the business climate is just kind of weird, it also gives you the opportunity, having it somewhere where you can get at it easily, to make adjustments and make updates to your business plan every once in a while. It's the kind of thing that you can change, because it is possible that as you're developing your business, maybe you get a fluke month in there somewhere where you make a whole heck of a lot more money than you were planning on, and that more possibly might even be more than you were projecting that you would for that particular month. All of those kinds of things are things that you want to factor in to a good working business plan for your florist business. So I hope that little bit of information will help you in starting, if you haven't, a good business plan for your florist business. And in future videos, I'm sure I will very likely go maybe a bit more in depth on starting and creating and working on a good business plan for your professional florist business. If you found this information helpful, I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to get notifications when I do upload a new video for you. And be sure to stay tuned for the next videos coming up in this 5-video series. Today was business plans, and the next 2 we're going to cover branding and marketing. So until the next time, I will see you all very soon, and stay well, everybody. Have a great day.